1963. Britain on the cusp of change. The Beatles topped the charts. Harold Wilson promised a white-hot revolution. Yet beneath the surface, daily life followed rules that would seem utterly reckless by modern standards.
This video reveals the ordinary habits of 1960s Britain. Practices so normal that nobody questioned them. Routines that would land you in court today. From hospital wards to school corridors. From family cars to children's playgrounds. Smoking everywhere. In 1962, 70% of British men smoked, 40% of women. They smoked on trains, on buses, in offices. Even doctors lit cigarettes while examining patients in hospital wards. Nobody thought twice. Expectant mothers smoked throughout pregnancy. Midwives offered cigarettes to calm nerves during labor. Ashtrays sat on hospital bedside tables. The link between smoking and health was only beginning to emerge. The Royal College of Physicians report came in '62. School staff rooms disappeared beneath clouds of smoke. Teachers marked homework with cigarette in hand. The smell of tobacco clung to every corridor. Children grew up believing this was simply how adults behaved. Because it was. The cinema. A cloud of smoke hung between audience and screen. Ushers sold cigarettes from trays alongside ice cream. Nobody complained about the haze obscuring the picture. It was simply part of the experience, accepted without question. 30,000 feet above the Atlantic, passengers lit cigarettes in their aircraft seats. Built-in ashtrays came as standard. The captain might announce turbulence ahead, but the real danger sat in every armrest. Pressurized cabins filled with smoke. Children riding in cars without seatbelts. In the '60s, no law required restraints. Small bodies bounced freely across back seats. Some stood up to wave at passing lorries. Others slept curled on parcel shelves. Parents called this normal. Baby car seats of the era defied belief. Metal frames hooked over bench seats. No straps, no padding, no crash testing. Mothers relied on outstretched arms to protect infants during sudden stops. Faith substituted for engineering. Corporal punishment in schools. The cane, the slipper, the leather strap. Teachers struck children for minor offenses. Talking in class, forgotten homework, incorrect answers. Physical discipline was not abuse, it was education. Standard practice across Britain. The rattan cane. Long and flexible, designed for maximum sting. Struck across hands, across legs, across clothed buttocks. In Scotland, the leather tawse served the same purpose. Receiving the cane carried ceremony, authority, fear. Some headmasters kept collections of canes, different weights, different lengths. The walk to the head's office brought dread. Children waited outside, listening to the swish and crack from within. It would not be banned until 1987. The witch's hat. 8 feet of welded steel piping over a central pole. Children clung to the skeleton frame as it spun wildly. Fingers crushed between metal and pole. Some fingertips severed entirely. Yet they queued for another turn. The ocean wave. A massive wooden swing boat mounted on hidden mechanisms. Children piled aboard while others pushed with increasing force. Teeth knocked out, arms broken, skulls fractured. The swooping structure showed no mercy to those who fell beneath. The giant rocking horse. Mounted on springs allowing violent forward and back motion, children hurled over the horse's head onto concrete below. Dr. Cynthia Illingworth documented these injuries in Sheffield. Severed fingertips, crushed limbs, shattered skulls, broken legs. Metal merry-go-rounds spun at terrifying speeds. Children pushed with all their strength. Others flew off, striking concrete. 26% of playground injuries in the era resulted in fractures, far higher than general casualty rates. Metal slides towered 3 meters high.
burning hot in summer, freezing in winter. Children landed on concrete or packed earth. No impact-absorbing surfaces existed. Safety standards would not arrive until the 1970s, after the injuries mounted. The liquid lunch. Office workers poured into pubs between 12 and 2, pints before afternoon meetings. Senior executives kept whiskey decanters in their offices. Advertising agencies ran on alcohol. Nobody called it a problem. It was business culture. Company directors entertained clients with drinks at 11. Sealed deals over 3 martini lunches. Returned to work in states that would trigger instant dismissal today. Yet somehow, British industry functioned. Or perhaps lurched along regardless, smacking children in public. A swift slap to correct misbehavior. Nobody intervened. Nobody reported parents to authorities. Physical discipline at home remained entirely legal. It still does in Britain today. One of only 4 European countries allowing it. Family dinners enjoyed through a fog of smoke. Parents lit cigarettes between courses. Children coughed but said nothing. Smoking near youngsters drew no criticism. No laws prevented it in enclosed spaces. The very concept seemed absurd. The school run. Windows wound shut against the cold. Father smoking behind the wheel. Mother lighting another. Children breathing second-hand smoke in confined spaces. Today, this would trigger intervention. Then it was simply Tuesday morning. Children cycled to school without helmets, along main roads, between lorries and buses. Cycle lanes did not exist, neither did high-visibility clothing. Parents waved them off at the door and hoped for the best. Daily routine. Building sites as playgrounds. No fences, no security. Children climbed scaffolding and explored half-built houses after workers went home. The excitement of forbidden places outweighed any sense of danger. Parents rarely knew where their children roamed. Children sent to buy cigarettes. A note from Mum. 10 Woodbines, please. Shopkeepers sold tobacco to anyone regardless of age. No identification required. No questions asked. The corner shop served the whole family, including their vices. Underage drinking. Teenagers slipped into pubs and were served without question. Landlords turned blind eyes. Parents sometimes sent children to fetch beer in jugs. The legal drinking age existed, but enforcement proved entirely optional. Factory floors without safety guards. Exposed machinery crushed fingers and caught clothing. Workers operated presses and lathes with minimal protection. Hard hats optional. Safety goggles rare. The phrase health and safety had not yet entered everyday vocabulary. Construction workers balanced on scaffolding without harnesses. Falls killed hundreds annually. Hard hats were considered unnecessary by many. The buildings rising across Britain came at a human cost that remained largely unspoken. Acceptable losses for progress. Garden bonfires burned constantly. Rubbish, leaves, old furniture. Children played nearby without concern. Councils issued no restrictions. Neighbors complained but accepted it. The smell of burning refuse marked weekend afternoons across suburban Britain. Toxic fumes included. Driving without seatbelts. Even when cars had them fitted, many drivers considered belts uncomfortable, unnecessary, even dangerous in a crash. The law mandating front seatbelt use would not arrive until 1983. 20 years of preventable deaths. Children roamed streets without mobile phones or tracking. Parents had no way to contact them until they came home for tea. Hours passed with no check-ins, no updates. Children learned independence through necessity. Fear of abduction existed, but did not dominate parenting decisions as it does today. School chemistry lessons without safety goggles.
Students heated substances over open flames with bare hands nearby. Teachers demonstrated reactions that sent sparks flying. The possibility of injury was considered part of the learning experience. Accidents happened. Lessons continued. Science required a certain tolerance for risk. Woodwork and metalwork classrooms bristled with power tools. Circular saws, lathes spinning at high speed. Boys as young as 11 operated machinery that would require extensive training today. Missing fingertips among former pupils served as testament to the era's approach to practical education.
Milk delivered in glass bottles to doorsteps, left for hours in all weathers. No refrigeration, no tamper-proof seals. Cream rose to the top, where birds pecked through foil caps. Food hygiene regulations barely existed. Trust in local tradesmen substituted for health inspections and quality controls. These memories of ordinary British life must not be forgotten. If you value documentaries preserving our shared history and the experiences of everyday people, please subscribe to this channel. Press the bell icon for notifications. Like and share this video. Help ensure these stories echo through generations. Dental treatment without effective anesthesia. Many procedures conducted with minimal pain relief. The foot-powered drill whined slowly through enamel. Children dreaded visits to the dentist with good reason. Extractions were common. Prevention barely discussed. The school dental van arrived like a traveling chamber of quiet terror. Hospital visiting hours strictly limited. Parents allowed to see sick children for perhaps 1 hour daily, sometimes less. The belief persisted that parental presence upset young patients. Children lay alone in hospital wards for days, crying for mothers who would not be permitted to comfort them until tomorrow. Medicine stored in kitchen cupboards without child-proof caps. Aspirin bottles opened with a simple twist. Household chemicals kept under sinks within easy reach. Accidental poisonings among children were tragically common. Safety packaging regulations would come later. Only after the toll of preventable tragedies demanded action from government. Televisions with exposed electrical components at the rear. Children sat inches from screens despite warnings about radiation. Sets overheated. Valves exploded occasionally. Yet families gathered nightly around these glowing boxes. The entertainment revolution came with risks that seemed worth taking. Progress always carries its hidden costs. Public swimming baths with minimal supervision. Children dived into shallow ends, ran on wet tiles, pushed each other into water. Lifeguards were few and often distracted. Swimming lessons involved being thrown in and told to get on with it. Sink or swim, quite literally. British Bulldog in school playgrounds. A game involving running gauntlets of grabbing hands, tackling opponents to the ground. Injuries were common and expected. Teachers supervised from a distance. The game taught toughness, resilience. It also sent children home with bruises, sprains, and occasionally worse. Character building. Railway carriages divided into smoking and non-smoking compartments. The smoke rarely stayed where it was supposed to. Passengers in non-smoking sections breathed second-hand fumes for entire journeys. Complaints achieved nothing. The division existed on paper only. In reality, tobacco penetrated every corner of British rail. Teachers grabbed children by ears, dragged them down corridors, shook them by shoulders. Physical contact that would end careers today was standard classroom management then. The phrase in loco parentis granted teachers authority to discipline as parents might, and parents of that era disciplined physically. Seaside holidays without health and safety considerations. Children climbed sea defenses, explored rock pools unsupervised, swam in cold water without wetsuits or flotation aids. Lifeguards patrolled sporadically, if at all.
Parents relaxed on deck chairs, trusting that children would return eventually. Most did. Some did not. Chip pan fires. Deep fat frying caused thousands of house fires annually. No thermostats, no safety cutoffs, pans of boiling fat left unattended while children played nearby. Fire brigades attended these blazes weekly across Britain. The chip pan represented both comfort food and domestic disaster waiting to happen. Open coal fires in every home. Children sat close for warmth. Sparks flew onto carpets. Burns were common childhood injuries. Carbon monoxide from blocked chimneys killed silently. Yet the coal fire represented the heart of British homes. Families gathered around its glow. Comfort outweighed calculated risk. Streets as playgrounds. Children owned the back lanes. Football with jumpers for goalposts. Cricket against garage doors. Traffic was lighter then. Neighbors watched out for local children. The community policed itself. This disappeared with faster cars and stranger danger. Streets fell silent. Children moved indoors. Public humiliation as education. The dunce's cap. Standing in corners facing walls. Names written on boards for bad behavior. Mockery from teachers about incorrect answers. Psychological pressure that would be considered damaging today was standard teaching practice. It shaped a generation, for better and worse. Britain changed. Laws tightened. Safety became paramount. The smoking ban arrived in 2007. Seatbelts became mandatory. Corporal punishment disappeared from schools. Playgrounds softened. Risk assessments multiplied. The country that raised us transformed into something our younger selves would barely recognize. Progress came. Nostalgia remained. Which of these memories resonate with you? Perhaps you remember the witch's hat, the cane, the smoke-filled rooms. Share your stories in the comments below. Your experiences help preserve this part of British history. We survived the 60s, and somehow we are still here to tell the tale.